To pray, there's no angels where I go. Only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now, before I do begin, I'm going to be pausing the video every 5 minutes in order to make sure the recording is going smoothly. Along with that, well, apparently someone thought Kendo was in Class 1B. She isn't. She's in Class 1A. I think they were either talking about this, whatever, talking about canon. Anyways, now with that aside, we will begin. Midoriya was modifying his hero costume. And it was actually a bit, well, weird. He's throwing all these different things together and actually finding it to be a bit odd. And thinking more. As we'll cut over to the next week. Him adding things and taking them off. As he would have the finished product. Getting the support gear from the hero departments. And at least thinking more about this. Now, All Might would have burst into the room today, announcing that he is here. And that, well, surprise, surprise, he will be their combat instructor. Everyone finding this to be a bit odd, and, well, interesting. Now, this is whenever it will be announced that they are all going to be need to change into their hero costumes. And then meet him outside for their training. As they would have all left. Well, All Might would leave, their costumes would come out of the wall, and everyone would go over, grab their suitcases, and begin to go change. Changing into their new outfits and actually getting things ready. Now, I want to say the only difference with Kendo's actual outfit is that she would probably have. She would have the belt, obviously. And to change it around a bit, she would have something underneath the, well, dress. I want to say like a long pair of, something, like a long pair of leggings. In order for her to properly perform high kicks and actually be able to come up with better attacks. Now, with that being said, Midoriya's outfit, it at least looks a bit similar to canon. The only difference being that Midoriya's shoes are a bit more like Endeavor's. Todoroki does at least notice that, since those are the exact, ones his dad used to wear. Him actually mistaking them for the exact pair of shoes. And then everyone looking at Midoriya's hero outfits. His outfit is black, and he does at least cut off the, sleeves of it. Along with adding a bit of a small jacket. Now, basically, he also did at least get a undershirt. Meaning that his clothes do at least look a bit loose. And he cut the outfit into two, a top and the pants. Along with actually having a utility belt that also is his karate belt that he got from the instructors. Everyone a bit surprised at this, as Midoriya would just say that they really shouldn't be all that surprised. In fact, he did train with, as he would just remember, looking around the class and then seeing Ojiro, saying that he completely forgot he was even here. Ojiro just saying that, yeah, surprised to see you too, Corkless. You've been a bit busy, haven't you? Now, with that, Midoriya would have at least talked with Ojiro for a minute, before the teams would have been picked out. Midoriya and Ojiro versus Kendo and Todoroki. That's perfect. Now, this is a bit of an odd matchup. Deku and Ojiro are actually walking while watching as Kendo and Todoroki do walk in, her trying to ask him exactly what is the tactic. As soon as they walk in, though, Todoroki would begin to seal the way, basically covering the entire room with ice, and then actually just walking around, not saying a single word. This is whenever Todoroki began to seal the way behind him, covering rooms upon rooms in ice as he begins to seal the staircase, leaving the, well, let's see, elevator the only way they can get up. Him at least thinking, he needs to seal the bomb in ice too. That way Midoriya can't really hold on to it. The dude's gonna get cold. So obviously this is gonna be a bit more tricky. Now, Kendo would just yell at Todoroki that this is beginning to get annoying. The whole part of having a partner for this exercise is to team up with them. You're just... And she would just get annoyed, walking over to the elevator and going down the floors. As All Might would just say that the teams are ready, and they will begin. Now, Deku and Ojiro begin to walk in. As soon as they do try the doorknob, it doesn't work. Midoriya turning on full cowling and immediately just kicking it in. As he kicks it in, the door gets sent flying and slides across the ground. Midoriya just walking in as Ojiro does begin to ask the questions. So, when exactly did you... Oh, yeah, my quirk. I've had it my whole life, apparently. But there's a problem with it. The only reason why I didn't have that extra joint in my toe, or anything else, is it's a bit of a enhancement quirk. It didn't activate until recently. It stockpiled enough power to start overflowing outside of my body. That being the sign, something was wrong. I always felt weird and odd, and especially whenever I started to have my shirts mess up on me. Midoriya beginning to make a cover story. Kendo rushing in and interrupting it. Her throwing out her fist and actually trying to hit Ojiro. While for Midoriya, she would have tried to throw out a kick. Midoriya bringing his hands up and immediately just throwing her leg upwards. Him going in for his own kick. Her bringing up her other hand and enlarging it. Being able to actually hit Midoriya with this. As Ojiro would have hit the ground and Deku would have been sent flying. As he would have recovered and hit the wall with his feet, jumping back into the battle. Ojiro getting up too and needing to try and fight her. Her just telling Ojiro that she's after Midoriya. Go get the other guy. He doesn't want to listen anyway. Deku just charging in, being able to sweep underneath her arms and grab her, as he would just charge through the wall with her. People watching as the two go smashing through the walls. And Kendo would have actually been a bit more injured, and surprised by that. Bakugo actually watching, and just thinking, that ice guy's pretty good with his quirk. Well now. Bakugo feeling a bit more intimidated by this. Todoroki's quirk is powerful, yeah, but why does he only use one hand? Now, Deku and Kendo. These two are still fighting. Midoriya just saying that he could go easy on her and not use his quirk. He still prefers to use his own fighting styles. Actually bringing his hands up, and then moving his leg backwards, telling her to come at him. And let's see if what we've been training on has been working. Everyone kind of surprised at that. What they've been training on. So the two are workout buddies? Someone just saying, well, let's say Sue, would just say it doesn't seem like that. The two, well, clearly know each other, right? So maybe they're a couple. No, that can't be a thing, right? Well, Ochako just saying that they did walk into the entrance exams together. And they were part of the same, well, same thing, so they don't go to the same school. That's at least for certain, so they do know each other from somewhere. Now, Ojiro would have reached the top floor and began to try and fight Todoroki. That ending very badly. By end badly, I mean as soon as Ojiro stepped out of the elevator, Todoroki covered him in ice and basically froze him in place. Tail and all, meaning he is immobilized. And there is one hero remaining. As down in the lower floors, Midoriya and Kendo are going back and forth, with technique, instead of quirk. Now, you would watch as Midoriya would be throwing his hands outwards, and actually trying to get close to Kendo, along with Kendo trying to keep a distance and being able to throw her hands up. Using her own fighting style, along with Midoriya trying to at least switch back and forth between his own, and mixing it with some kickboxing. Him throwing his leg outwards as she would have brought her hand up, blocking the actual hit and actually grabbing onto it. Her swinging his body weight around as he would smash directly into the wall. And she would go to actually throw him towards the ground. Midoriya being able to bring her leg up and wrap around her arm more. Being by grabbing her hand and actually beginning to twist it and pull a little bit. Her smashing towards the ground and actually making sure to land on Midoriya. These two basically face to face, not even a few inches in between each other. Her just telling Midoriya that trick is not going to work on her anymore. She has a good counter. Midoriya not really sure, saying that if she's really sure about that, then what is it? Besides, you can't enlarge your hands like this, you know that, right? Her just saying that she knows. But, well, there's one thing. Her just cocking up her left hand and enlarging it a bit, before smashing it downwards and just saying that she does have another hand. Being able to smash directly next to Midoriya as she'd be able to start swinging him around. Enlarging her actual hand and smashing it straight into the wall. Midoriya letting go as he would hit the ground and turn on full cowling. At about 10%. Telling her nice trick, but more lightning coursing around him. Him charging straight in at her and actually grabbing her. Throwing her through a wall and then jumping upwards, smashing her into the ceiling and through the floor. The two going up about 2 to 3 stories, as the bomb, let's say, is on the 5th story. Meaning that they are on the 4th story. Now, Todoroki would have heard that, and be a bit confused. Looking straight at Ojiro, whose face at this point is the only thing exposed. Him shivering and just saying that guy, he's going to win, you know? Todoroki finally saying something. Well, I'm not too sure about that. He's only one guy. So what about that? You really shouldn't underestimate him. I fought him before he manifested his quirk. You fought him as kids? That's a long time ago. No, he's a late bloomer. I don't think that's a thing. Now, as he would have said that, Midoriya would have been sent flying into the room, smashing upwards to the floor and smashing into the wall. Kendo actually trying to get Haruki's attention, telling him to let her in, or at least to try and get her in. Todoroki immediately just throwing up his hand and going to blast ice at Midoriya, while Kendo gets into the elevator. One awkward situation later, with some weird-ass elevator music. She would have ran in and see Deku just bouncing off the walls, breaking and basically shattering everything around him, whenever the ice does move. Todoroki just throwing out his hand over and over and over again in different directions. Midoriya basically tagging him, as he would come in this time and hit him directly into a nerve point, directly in the back of his arm. His arm dropping and Midoriya coming in, smashing his knee directly into his guts as he gets sent flying into the wall. Him looking around and seeing Ojiro, stuck, and trying to look around for the bomb. He's guessing it's in that giant thing in the middle of the pillars. Todoroki basically created the world's largest ice cube to make sure this thing stays still. Now, Midoriya would have actually been a bit more surprised. Ice and, well, looking back at Todoroki, thinking, this guy seems familiar. His quirk is an ice one, and he didn't see him at the entrance exams. Him rushing in, as he would see Todoroki just look at him, and think for a second. The way he looks, the way he seems, the expression, him rushing in and being able to grab Todoroki, and immediately pin him to the ground, pulling out the captured tape and wrapping it around his hands. Todoroki trying to move his free one before it finally does spark on fire. Midoriya actually watching as he does back away, and Todoroki, well, reluctantly, uses it a bit to burn away this tape before standing back up. Midoriya just thinking that ice and fire, a half and half quirk. Todoroki would turn back to see Midoriya as he would try and at least use his left arm. Not his left arm, his right arm, to blast ice. Now, he would not get anywhere, so he would just use his foot. Midoriya seeing that as he does, back up, jumping straight onto the wall as he does bring his hands outwards, pushing off with as much force as he thinks he needs to. 35% to rush in and smack Todoroki across the face, as hard as possible, sending him flying to the other side of the room as he would hit the wall and smash into the ground, unconscious and with a concussion. Turning back to this thing in the center of the room as Kendo rushes him, her grabbing on Midoriya's back as he just throws his hands up, grabbing onto her arms and doing one thing, holding onto her. Her a bit confused as he would just pick her up and jump as high as he can, smashing into the roof as she would let go. Her falling onto the ground and trying to get back up. Midoriya running over and grabbing her. People watching as he basically begins to, well, chuck her around the room. Kendo trying to fight back, thinking that that guy is a bit more, well, yikes. If this is what he does to his friends, then that's not really good. Eventually, Kendo is on the ground and can't move. Midoriya just throwing his arm backwards and asking her if she does give up. Her finally just nodding. She can't really see out of one of her eyes, and well, it's very painful to try and move right now. As whenever she does give up, All Might would just say that the heroes have won. However, young Midoriya, you do need to learn a bit more of a strategy. Midoriya a bit confused, asking All Might exactly what does he mean. All Might just saying that whenever he did get into the room, he should have prioritized his teammate over his enemy. And well, if you did, then you possibly would have gotten the actual bomb. Now, Midoriya would just say that you said there were two objectives. Either take down the villains or get the bomb. He did the one he thought he needed to. Besides, as he would just look at Ojiro, telling him that he can move now. Ojiro just at least smirking, and moving backwards. Moving as hard as he can as he's able to break out his neck. Then his tail. As he does begin to burst through the ice. People actually a bit more surprised. All Might kinda confused. Midoriya just saying that if he wants to see him fight, then don't stay stuck next time. You could have just broken free and gotten the bomb, while I was taking care of them. I could have, but, well, you could have handled it. I could have, but you could have multitasked. I take care of the villains, you take care of the objective. Deku actually getting a bit more surprisingly strict about this. Ojiro is just saying that he could have, but still. He did have to wait a minute, that was actually very cold. Now, Midoriya would have just said, obviously it's ice. Walking over to Kendo and actually helping her up. People watching as Midoriya would basically just pick her up off the ground and carry her out of the building, taking her to a recovery girl as she would have gotten healed, as Ojiro would have helped Todoroki, who can't really refuse. Him waking up in recovery girl's office a little while later. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. And before I do go, Chapter 3 of The Last Hero is out. I will be trying to record it later, or well, directly after this. So I do hope you guys enjoy and look out for that.